Hey everyone, this is a guide to travelling to Paris with a grandchild by Gransnet in the Paris Anthology, and we are going to take you through the context and linguistic details in the text, and we hope it helps you with your exams. First is the context and what we call gramps to remember the key points. So the genre of this text is an internet forum for people to talk and share their experiences in Paris. The register is both formal and informal, as multiple people are talking on this website with different types of styles. The audience is grandparents looking to take their grandchildren to Paris, middle class, and mostly women as there's no visible male input. The mode is written, it's quite interactive, spontaneous written mode with spoken language elements and emojis. The purpose is to inform and advise each other, communicate with people with similar ages, and information about the city, landmarks, and how to get around. The subject is travel, family, pickpockets, tourism, and traffic.
The logo has been put at the top of the page to reinforce brand recognizability of Gransnet. The tabs and search bar have been used to help users of the site clearly find the chats they are looking for. The title, Travelling to Paris with a Grandchild, gives the audience a clear idea of what the post is going to be about. The names of each user has been put in bold typography to clearly show which user is talking. Certain member names are given more information to highlight their importance in the chat, as if they're an admin. The dates and times follow a chronological order, which helps users clearly follow the train of conversation.
Paris in this text is described through a mixture of perspectives, both from an older generation like the grandparents and from the viewpoint of a child. This dual perspective really influences the diversity in how Paris is represented. From the child's side, there's a clear sense of curiosity, adventure, and excitement, while from the grandparents, there's a blend of prior knowledge, some mild criticisms, and a feeling of nostalgia. Together, these different viewpoints create a much more layered and unique description of the city, rather than just a one-sided idealized version. One example of this is the line, "My best tip for a younger one is Luxembourg Gardens," shows that Paris isn't only a place designed for adults interested in romance, art, or history. Instead, it suggests that the city is welcoming to children too. It challenges the typical stereotypes of Paris being exclusively for adults. This phrase also implies that the grandparent has real experience traveling with a child. They know what activities and places work best. So it highlights the intergenerational nature of the trip, where knowledge and memories are shared between generations. At the same time, Paris is presented in a highly romanticized and glorified way, giving it an attractive and almost dreamlike quality. For example, the statement, "The Marais is such a nice place to stay," shows this clearly. The pre-modifier "such a" intensifies the enthusiastic tone, reinforcing the idea that Paris is a joyful and desirable place to visit. However, the adjective nice is quite vague and subjective. It doesn't give us any specific details about what exactly makes the Marais special. This suggests that experiences of Paris are highly personal. What one person loves about the city may be completely different for someone else. Overall, this makes the representation of Paris more flexible and open to individual interpretation, which adds to its charm and appeal.
Throughout the text, there is a very prominent polite tone between the writers, as they share friendly, helpful advice between each other. This helps to construct a sense of positivity and community throughout the text. Some examples of advice are, "I'd still say get a 3-day riverboat pass," "Oh, might be an idea to watch, and you must be by the river near the Eiffel Tower when they make it sparkle." Some examples of politeness include, "Brilliant idea, Tegan. Enjoyed the trip. Thank you, Granny Activist. I hope you had a good time and good weather." There's also a use of transactional and relational language. Transactional language is language that is used to get something done and convey information, whereas relational language is one that is used to build and maintain relationships. The transactional language that is used is quite limited throughout the text. when it is used, is not remain consistent within the text, and instead the relational language returns. This helps to demonstrate the nature of the social interactions in the forum, whereas emphasizing the positive and polite nature. This is also further emphasized through the use of the advice and politeness features mentioned earlier. The main use of language is relational language. Throughout the text is a repeated use of exclamatory sentences such as "I love the idea of a Paris meetup." These help to express enthusiasm between the people in the forum and create a sense of agreement within the text. Abstract nouns such as love and I agree with Tegan and Hilda help to build a sense of community between the people. This helps to build onto the friendly and inclusive tone of the text. There's also a use of direct address. In the quotation, "Glad you were in years back," and "safe and sound." The use of the lexis "safe and sound" also helps to reinforce the positive and caring tone that is used to build relation within the text.
So, in page 84, in case you don't know, it is cheaper to buy from a tobacco shop. Tobacco is short for tobacco. The shortening lightens up the atmosphere as the person commenting previously mentions a variety of advice, which may seem intimidating or too intense. By using abbreviations, the producer creates a friendly tone, signaling to other participants that they share the same type of language, aka socialite. "I will volunteer to be the Gransnet rep." The abbreviation of representative and the addition of smiling emoji also constructs a welcoming and friendly impression of the producer. This contradicts the commenter's introductory line, "I will volunteer," which to some may arguably seem intimidating, also lightening up the atmosphere. A gang of heavies. Heavies, the colloquial term for thieves. The commenter does this to perhaps create a sense of humor, mocking the thieves. This also diverts other participants from the frightening tone which the topic revolves on. The use of heavies insults the thieves rather than focusing on the thieves being dangerous and petrifying.
Certain types within the text traveling to Paris with a grandchild are unique due to varying factors, such as spoken mode being shown as written mode, or the use of low formality within the text so that more people will be able to access and understand the conversation. Or even the format of the website can affect the sentence types. With the format of the website, it allows people to respond to one question or statement. Therefore, the majority of the sentences will be declaratives due to most of the people recounting events and stories. Therefore, the conversation will be more repetitive with people emphasizing a point. The use of minor sentences is to align the subject that there is no need to repeat the same point. Furthermore, sentences can also be manipulated by factors such as brackets, emojis, or dashes and ellipses. The use of emojis throughout also adds a clear sense of tone for the sentences as to minimize any miscommunication between the grandparents. The brackets add to the written mode add a sense of uniqueness, as instead of general advice you get to see a sense of opinion for each individual person, and it also creates a conversational tone. Furthermore, the use of dashes or ellipses shows an abrupt ending and a continuation, following the spoken mode of a spontaneous, unscripted conversation.
Throughout the text, there are many affordances and constraints. For example, the forum allows people to chat with each other in a friendly way about something they have in common. Another is that the jargon that has been used gives the reader an insight to the parent's colloquial language. Another affordance of this text is that it allows the reader to see an alternative perspective of travelling to Paris. However, there are a couple constraints towards this text. It may be unreliable, as it only shows the perspective of previous tourists and no actual experts, as well as the format of the text is only familiar to those who go on to forums
and those are familiar with the idea of a forum. If you're interested in doing practice exam questions, here are some texts that you can compare this text to. See, the thing is, these texts address a particular social group experience of Paris. So, for example, you have Not for Parents and Paris for Children, which has links towards children in Paris and how they cope with that experience. You also have Around the World in 80 Dates and Breathless, where it involves young women travelling around Paris. As well as you can compare this text to On Paris, where it talks about that American experience where Americans go to Paris for a holiday or a trip. Now, that is the end of this YouTube video. I really hope you've enjoyed learning about different ideas of this text. Have a good day.